Well, hello and welcome. Yes, I know I'm all sort of in the dark. It's about 8:40 p.m. Monday night. I hope you are all doing well. Well, I'm doing okay. I've been really tired of late, and I've just had it confirmed that my iron and ferritin levels are very low. I've got to go and have another iron infusion. We also need to have an ultrasound just to check to see if everything's going okay on the insides, because we're trying to find out where my iron's going. Because I had an infusion about a year ago, and it's all gone kaput. So I'm having to slow down a little bit. But when you're used to going at one speed, and that's fast, it's very, very hard. So today in Australia, we've got southeast Queensland flooding. There are also reports that the top, the part of New South Wales is now flooding. I've heard about some flooding going on in South Australia. Interestingly, a government minister has suggested or has set up a GoFundMe to fundraise money for the flood relief. I thought he was a government minister, and I thought that part of paying taxes meant that we had a fund, part of our taxes go to a fund that helps for disasters. I might be wrong, but I thought it was the government's job to help support the people. No, but apparently you need to do a GoFundMe. So Peter Dutton, Peter Dutton, Mr. Potato Head, as he's nicknamed, has been absolutely canned for setting up a GoFundMe. Of course, the Prime Minister has supported him, as he does, because he knows Prime Minister has to support him, because if the Prime Minister doesn't support him, rumour has it, legend has it, that Mr. Potato Head will do a leadership bout and, look, 60,000. So hang on. So now there's disaster payments in New South Wales because the flames hit New South Wales. So we'll just do this. Wasn't what I wanted to talk about, but anyway. New South Wales Dominic Perrottet says there's been distressing reports of people isolated on roofs and homes following waters rising. The Brisbane River reached its peak, but there are concerns of people missing in flooding. So northern New South Wales is now in problems. So it was southeast Queensland and northern New South Wales. So evacuation centres have been set up around the place. Lismore, we know, has hit its peak. It got to 14.3 metres, and I think so this is someone being reached to safety. So there are schools being closed. So this is, where's this one? This is Lismore. Again, so this is in New South Wales. This isn't Queensland. This is New South Wales. This is Logan. This is in Brisbane, south of Brisbane. So we've got floods. Oh, look at that. I have to say, that's what I'd be doing. I'd be playing in the mud if it was me. Look at this. Doesn't this look like fun? Oh, yeah. That's the Gold Coast. That's on the Gold Coast. That's pretty cool. I think, is it 5 or 6? I think there have been tolls. There's been a death toll. So Victoria's sending 11 members of the Water Police and search and rescue teams to New South Wales. We've sent a team of rescuers This is somebody's backyard. So this guy found a strange object floating in his backyard in Brisbane. This is again Lismore.
There's someone being rescued right now, actually. We'll just pan over. This is the sort of community spirit that we've been seeing here throughout all day, hours and hours on end. Volunteers and authorities have been going back and forth on boats, rescuing people that have been stuck at their submerged home.
So yeah, so so you've got Queensland, and southeast Queensland and north of New South Wales in floods. So as I said, I read somewhere that somebody had said that there was issues with Adelaide as well, but I don't know. But anyway, so we've got all of that, and there is disaster fund being set up by the government. But I'm just going to do Peter Dutton Go Fund Me. Okay, so isn't that the role of the government? Peter Dutton panned for setting up fundraiser. So critics mock on social media, but Scott Morrison says he doesn't understand the backlash. Peter Dutton has been criticised for setting up a GoFundMe page for a flood-affected Queensland community, with one Labor MP suggesting it proved that the coalition was incompetent and couldn't deliver on Commonwealth support. The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, said on Sunday evening he did not understand the backlash to the fundraiser set up by the Defence Minister. That sounds to me like someone doing their job, Morrison said in Brisbane. As a local member of Parliament, you always try and harness community support for responding to major disasters. That's our job, to work with communities. Now, I have seen photos of politicians, not necessarily government politicians, but politicians working at evacuation centres, giving out food and handing out clothes and other stuff as well. I would prefer if Mr. Dutton was actually at an evacuation centre comforting people, although people may not want to be comforted by him, but that's a whole nother story. But working on the ground and doing work rather than saying, we have started a fundraiser to help residents and businesses who have been affected. And this person's tell me you have no idea what a competent government does without telling me you have no idea what a competent government does. In this, isn't this the role of government, the one that you're part of? Apparently it's raised $2,000 to $25,000 on Sunday night. A lot of people are just not interested. In the 2021 budget, the government announced a similar fund called the Prepare Australia Fund, which committed $600 million over 6 years for disaster resilience. There's also a $4.7 billion emergency fund response that was set up. The fund was set up by the coalition in 2019 with the money spent on recovery and mitigation, but none of the funds have been allocated, with the government referring to it as a fund of last resort. That Labor has pledged to revamp the fund to direct $200 million a year to disaster prevention and resilience, such as flood, levee, seasonal, cyclone. So there is money sitting there the government has not spent. But however, the government has set up a personal hardship payment to flood-affected communities. $180 for individuals and $900 for family is provided through a joint Commonwealth State disaster recovery funding. The federal government's disaster recovery payment of $1,000 per eligible adult and $400 per eligible child will be available from Monday. So that's what Mr. Dutton, I keep going to call him Mr. Potato Head because that's what we call him. I'm sorry, Mr. Dutton. But, Anyway, what I wanted to talk about, what I was coming on here, was to say Mr. Porter. Mr. Porter has got a new job. Yesterday we talked about Brothers' new job. Today we've got Porter. Mr. Porter's got a new job. Now he submitted something to the government today. Is that, hopefully I've got it here. I know, always come prepared, Joanne. Always come prepared. No, that's not it. That's not it. Where is it? Always come prepared. He actually wrote to the government today to say that he had a declared interest. I must have deleted it by accident. That was clever, Joanne. I was cleaning up my computer today. Anyway, That's fine because we've got this article here. Christian Porter starts 2 new companies and signals possible writing ventures. Yes, we're going to get the sordid tales of Christian Porter, allegedly. So, former Attorney General Christian Porter has hinted at writing a book and says he'll return to the legal profession when he quits politics in the coming months. Porter has set up a trust to manage 2 new companies he started earlier this month for his post-parliament career, following the decision not to recontest the next election in the wake of the historical SA allegation that he denies. An update to the Federal Parliament's Register of Members' Interests published online on Monday revealed the future plans for the member of Pearce. And that's what I had. I had the letter that he wrote, but silly me. In a letter, Porter wrote that he was now the sole director of 2 newly created private companies, Henry Sterling Lawyers Proprietary Limited and Henry Sterling Consultants Proprietary Limited. The 2 companies were registered on the 3rd of February with an additional entity known as the CP Family Trust. On the 4th of February, with respect to both companies, I am the sole director. The first company has been registered for the purposes of conducting legal practice, which practice will not commence until I cease to be a member of Parliament, Porter wrote. The second company has been established with respect to possible future writing ventures. ASIC records show the companies were registered on the 3rd of February, both listing registered offices in Perth, suburb of Mount Pleasant. Guardian Australia contacted Porter and his office for comment on whether he plans to write a book. The ABC reported last week that Porter may appear as counsel for a defendant in a West Australian district hearing in May. The ABC said Porter responded he had not yet accepted nor worked on any briefs, but confirmed he was intending to return to private legal practice after officially leaving politics. Porter's letter, updating his register of interests, also notes more information about the trust. The CP Family Trust is the sole shareholder in both companies, and as sole trustee of the CP Trust, I maintain full discretion with respect to potential future beneficiaries of the trust, and therefore have no distributions to beneficiaries since its establishment, he wrote. Porter, in March 2021, Porter named himself as the person at the centre of the ABC report, in which allegations of a 1988 are against an unnamed cabinet minister levelled by a woman who had since died. New South Wales Police ruled there was insufficient admissible evidence and that it considered the case closed. Porter vehemently denies the allegations and launched defamation action against the ABC. He was switched from Attorney General to Minister for Industry, Science and Technology in March 2021, after the Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, received advice from the Solicitor General regarding any potential conflict of interest between Porter launching defamation action or as the nation's chief law officer. Yeah, that would be pretty weird. The defamation case was discontinued in May 2021. Porter later resigned from the ministry in September 2021 after disclosing on his registry of interest that he had accepted part contribution to the payment of his legal fees by a blind trust known as Legal Services Trust. Porter claimed the structure of the arrangement prevented him from knowing or disclosing who had contributed. Ultimately, I decided if I had to make a choice between seeking to pressure the trust to break individuals' confidentiality in order to remain in cabinet, or alternatively forgo my cabinet position, there is only one choice I could in all conscience make, Porter said in announcing his decision. The federal Labor opposition claims legal bills could be as high as $1 million. The Shadow Attorney General Mark Dreyfus called on his blind trust explanation as an abuse of office. Now, Mark Dreyfus, I might tell you, he's also a lawyer. He's a QC, Queen's Counsel. So he's right up there. Porter had previously said that he properly disclosed his interests in accordance with the rules and the ministerial standards, but resigned as a minister on the basis the issue had become unhelpful distraction for the government. Porter, who entered the federal parliament in 2013, had initially said he would recontest the next election, but in December said he would leave politics. He complained there was no limit to what some would say or alleged to do to gain an advantage over a perceived enemy, claiming he had experienced perhaps more of the harshness of modern politics than most. Okay, whatever. Porter had posted to his official Facebook page only once in 2022, encouraging constituents to apply to the planting trees for the Queen's Jubilee Grants program. He'd not posted any updates to the news sections of his website since December's statement confirming his decision to leave politics. So what they're saying is he's done jack all since he made his announcement, allegedly. Allegedly. Everything's allegedly. You need to do your own research. Do not take what I say as fact. Pearce has been held by the Liberal Party since its inception in 1990. Will be contested by local councillor Linda Aiken for the Coalition. Following a seat redistribution which makes the electorate more favourable for the Labor candidate and Wanneroo Mayor Tracy Roberts, the opposition has some confidence in winning Pearce. Porter won the seat on a two-party margin of 58 to 42 in 2019. Now, I must say that was quite a strong Liberal state, that area. But yeah, if they've redistributed it, it could be, yeah. So anyway. So remember, everything is alleged. Nothing is factual. Okay, you need to do your own research. But yeah. So we've had Bruz. He's announced what he's doing. Now Porter's announcing what he's doing. They've all got jobs. Funny how they can just walk in and get jobs where most other people have to struggle to find work, but they walk straight into them. Anyway, so that's all from me. I want to thank you for watching. Please make sure you hit the like button and subscribe and ring the bell. Ring my bell. Ring my bell. And I got my I got my timetable today and all my subjects and everything. So I've been working on that. So I get to do, so I'm doing criminal law, contract law, torts, and legal statutory. How to read statutes. How to read and interpret statutes, or as one YouTube journalist says, statuettes. That still cracks me up. So that is going to be a whole lot of fun. And I'm doing my orientation today, this week. So I've got a whole pile of stuff. So this is introduction into Australian contract law and policy. Woohoo! Yes, and criminal law looks very interesting as well. We're going to get into all the crimes and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to sound like exciting because, but it is very exciting to look at the law of it, not the actual crimes. The actual crimes themselves are. But the law and to interpret the law is going to be interesting. But anyway, so as I said, thank you for watching me. Yes, there's still stuff hitting off over YouTube. I have been watching all of that. I know what's been going on. I don't know what to say because actually I'm speechless about it all. However, I will say don't go real life. Don't go real life. That's all I'm going to say. Don't go real life. That's all I'll say. Anyway, until next time, I will catch you again next time. Bye for now.